Hey everyone, welcome to Zero to Freedom. I'm really excited today because I've got the lovely Mary Van der Klundert on, and she's an amazing lady. And I want to bring lots of people on who are actually living with chronic and terminal conditions, and to bring them on and talk about how they're treating themselves, what they're doing, how they feel, what they feel has caused and brought their cancer to them or whatever illness to them. So I'm really excited to bring Mary on so she can talk about her very personal journey. So I'm really, really pleased and very, very grateful to Mary for coming on and sharing this. So Mary, welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, JT. And thank you for inviting me because it's, I'd like to share and I'd like to share my journey. Why not? And it's, I
So
think it's a very
important.
important one. Yeah, it's very important because I'm not the only one.
Oh, of course
And
not. But you're an amazing lady, and we actually met a little while ago, and Mary opened up, and she's been an absolute star. She's actually gifted me some healing sessions and stuff, and been just, she's an amazing lady, and she's been through so much, and she's a warrior, a pure warrior. So it's just really important that at this time in the world when people, we're so used to looking outside of ourselves for health and going to a doctor and saying, please solve me. And what my passion is with this channel, as Mary knows, is to show people we can do so much for ourselves. And she's living testament. I'm living testament to it. So Mary, so do you want to just outline your conditions, what you were diagnosed with, and how you approach
I
it?
want to, yes, I want to get back to what you were saying. I'm a warrior. Yes, I do feel like a warrior. I'm a warrior of the heart, and I'm a warrior for the truth because, that's ever since I was a child, probably, I felt things were not as they should be. And I was, asking myself questions. And then when I started, having those questions when I was older, I started to read so many books, find so many information, so much information. And I think that is one of the basic things. And another thing is that is very important. I think in all ways of life, it's taking responsibility for your own actions, but also for your own health.
Yeah.
And the thing that is something very important you mentioned just now is to go to a doctor. For me, that was never a normal thing. When my children were younger, fortunately, I had a GP who was also a homeopath.
Oh, that's unusual. That's unusual.
And in that period, yes, because it was, they are 40 now, 41. So that was really, it was really unusual. And when he said, he could have given them prescriptions. And when they had pain or something, he said, just put a tiny drop of port into their bottle, and they slept. And sleep is just, it's one of
so important. My mum used to put whiskey, but she used to give me hot milk, and maybe she didn't like me, but hopefully she was doing that too. And I said, oh, this milk tastes off. Drink it. No, but that is just the tiniest bit. And rubbing it on their gums when they're babies, when they're teething.
Exactly. Exactly. There are so many things, our grandmothers and our mothers did. And that has been replaced by, regular pills and things like that.
Yeah, like the wisdom of the family, the wisdom of the women in the family, and just the elders. Like we're so far away from that, passing down the wisdom and the things that their like mothers and their grandmothers. It's all discounted as just all woo woo. It's nonsense. It's kind of that's wisdom. It's the wisdom, isn't it?
Yeah, but that is something we were just discussing before that. It's the wisdom of women. And fortunately, we are not being burned, but we are being ridiculed for so long. So, we need to know where we stand, and we need to feel our wisdom and just not let ourselves be blown away anymore by by all these ridiculous reactions. And
Yeah,
the main thing
absolutely.
is taking responsibility for your own health.
Yes.
And that is the most important choice. And unfortunately, we tend to do that, and not always even, when we are really sick, you know, when there's really a health issue that is serious, or that is, and then
because we're scared, we're fearful, we're scared, and we've been taught we can't do anything for ourselves, so we're like, help me.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm tiny little me. No, we're not tiny little us.
No.
We are so powerful.
Yes.
We can heal ourselves. Even, you know, people are sometimes so powerful, they can heal themselves by thought alone.
And they can make themselves ill by thought as well. That's the point, isn't it? That's what everyone's doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what everyone's doing right now. So it's a good thing to you know, to go within and to feel this really for yourself, to take this responsibility for yourself, and to love yourself, because that is where it all starts.
Yeah.
My journey started, when did it start? 6 years ago, I think.
So when you got your diagnosis, when you got your diagnosis, I mean, obviously you had an inkling. I think you found a lump in your breast, I think. When you actually got your diagnosis, how did that make you feel? Because all the program of like, this is a death sentence and this, that, how did you feel? Like, how did it affect you?
Well, you know, I started 6 years ago. It was the first feeling. And then I did thermography, and it was confirmed. I needed to see a doctor right away. I didn't do that. I waited another year. I started juicing. And in 2017, about this period, so it's 4 years ago, I did MRI scans.
Okay.
And so that was really clear that it was breast cancer. And what was really a big disappointment was that it had spread to the lungs as well. So that was something I had been crying about. And, you know, to just only for my children, because they came with me. And I went to a cancer hospital. I made an appointment, but for myself, I already knew that I was not going that direction. But
why were you so firm on that? I mean, what background did, obviously you come from coming from a holistic background, and like, what did you do for work? What made you feel that you definitely 100% did not want to? Like, because people can come from being very open, very like natural things and stuff, and when it comes to cancer, they're like, you know, no, absolutely not, can't mess it. I've had people say, you can't mess about with that, you know, no, it's got to be chemo, it's got to be radiotherapy. So
no, I already knew. I used to work as a kind of physiotherapist, but it was more, I was specialized in psychosomatic illnesses and and you know what stress did in a body, things like that. But that was a long time ago already. I worked for 10 years about, and then we moved abroad. So, but I always had this feeling, and I just did some research on it. I just knew what chemo did in the body, and that it often spreads the cancer, and that it often goes away for just you know, just you it seems as if you get rid of it, and then after 4 or 5 years it
comes back.
It's general, it spread, it's a general spread in the body, and there's nothing they can do anymore. So, you know, and it's not, maybe not with all chemos and all things, but I have not so much trust in the pharmaceuticals. Well, just to say that, I don't know if I can say that, but
you can say that, because that's what, you know, on this channel I always talk about. Whatever your choice is, that's your personal choice. I'm only telling you my story. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm not advising you. I'm saying this is my journey, and you can say whatever you want, because that's your journey. So we're not advocating anything. We are just saying this is another way to look at things. Take the blinkers off, and there is more than one way. but we're not telling people to do that. So just so compliance notice, just so people know, we are not telling you. Have to feel in your heart what's right for you to do. This is not to advise you on medical. This is just telling stories and journeys of my journey and Mary's journey. So please do not say, well, I got told to do something, because that's not what this is about. This is just sharing of, you know, stories.
Yeah, exactly. And I knew also, you know, I've also read about the mammograms, because I think I only did 2. One when I was in Holland, and one when I lived in Bangkok at the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've always felt, why is this necessary? Why is this torture necessary?
Yeah.
It just, you know, if they can flatten your breast, they are also capable to do something more gentle. Yeah. And I thought, you know, if
did you find it traumatic? That's for my journey. Whenever I go into hospital, it makes me feel iller. It makes me feel traumatized, because it's nothing. It feels like nothing close to healing. It's so sterilized. It's so sterile and sanitized. But just even just the colors and just everything, and the way you're talked to, like you're kind of just a lump of meat, and just there's no kind of just kindness or love. Or I know people say, oh, they're busy, they got to do things, but there's just nothing to do with healing there. And I even just going, I used to have anxiety, and I'm sure you feel the same. I feel completely traumatized.
Yeah, I have the same thing. I needed some operations in my life, and that is a good thing, you know, when it comes to, you know, I had endometriosis, and I had a cyst on one of my ovaries at the time, around when I was 40. And I'm so glad they found it, because it looked like an appendicitis. And so they took that one out, because that is what they do, standard procedure, you know. If they cut you open over there, then that was the reason they gave me. They cut it out, but they found blood in the abdominal cavity. And so they found this endometriosis, and I'm so glad they did, because it was like a peritonitis that had started.
That's the thing I've got to make clear here. I'm not against medicine. What I'm for is being integrative, you know, and basically understanding there isn't just one way. When it comes to acute medicine, that's great. You've had a car crash, you need something together. They do amazing things, marvelous things. But what my issue is with chronic health, piling pills on things and stuff, there's such a bad record for cancer, for heart, you know, for every organ. Like we are very sick as a society. We're very ill. So if we're so advanced, then why are we all so ill? And that's a really big subject, because there's many reasons societally why we are ill. But I'm just talking about just the medical profession. When it comes to chronic health and treating chronic health, for me, it's just dire. And you've done your research, I've done my research, and we're living experiments.
Yeah, we are.
You know, basically.
And we're still alive.
Yeah.
And kicking.
And thriving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. And that was also, you know, so I went to this cancer hospital, and the only things they could offer, because of course they needed to make a diagnosis. So it was a mammogram, it was an echo, and it was a biopsy. So I said, just do me the echo. And they looked at me, well, we can't make a real diagnosis then. I said, yes, but I don't want a biopsy, because, you know, you are fiddling with
putting something in.
Something. I don't like that.
And also, when they do the biopsy, that can also pierce and make it leak to other places.
It can spread. It can also spread with that. So I knew that already. So I said, only do me the echo, so at least my son could see it.
Yeah.
And that was good. And then I left the hospital again. And the night before, you know, I had looked, you know, on the normal internet, and I had looked at what is it,
Google?
stage 4 cancer, you know, because it has spread already. I think it's stage 4. I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
And it made me so sick.
Yeah.
Only to see these prognoses,
I
these
know.
treatments that I thought, oh, I'm not going to do that.
Don't you make yourself ill looking at that? When you start research on the internet, you look at the things and it's just saying what's going to happen, that's it. This is just what's going to happen. There's no alternative to this. And you
exactly.
and you like make it, and you start programming it in your mind, and you have to step away, like, because it's not healthy.
JC, it was the only night that I didn't sleep because of that. I didn't sleep because of the anxiety.
Yeah.
And then, and I knew, even though I knew already that I would not go into that direction, but it just
still made you anxious and still putting the stress on your nervous system, which then you're not healing. So just putting yourself in that kind of that. And also, when people always like to say, as soon as they diagnose with cancer, and even, like it's a death sentence, like straight away. Yes, of course you can die from cancer, but keep saying that to people and keep programming that. And like, you got 5 years, and it's often when people are told they have a few months, isn't it? Then they kind of completely relax into themselves and then end up, completely healing and living, because they've just taken all their expectations away of everything.
Yeah, that's it. And it's also, what you feel from others. I'm an intuitive. I'm an intuitive empath, highly sensitive, and I pick up others' emotions. So in the beginning, of course, there were friends and family, and I could.
Were they angry with you?
Not really, or maybe I blocked that already, because I said, I don't want your anxiety. I don't want your anxiety. If you are afraid, if you see me dying, then please don't come near me, because I don't need that. I only need the positive. You can help me. You can make my juices. But that
did they respect that?
Yeah, they had to.
Yeah. Bloody well had to. But that just makes so much sense, because it's really interesting what you said about what other people what other people treat you like when you're ill. It's like wearing a badge or something, like you're like suddenly just completely incapable of anything. And then you feel it about yourself, don't you? You feel then all kind of like that, and you allow it, if you allow it in. So what you said there is like, be positive around me. I don't want anyone coming around.
It's really important, and it's also, it has to do with self-love. I think that was one of the most important things I did for loving myself, is to put boundaries, to say, well, I don't need that, so don't come. If you feel like that, don't come near me. And I also realized that it is their own fear of death. It is their own projection. And that is also something, cancer doesn't have to mean that you're dying. No, and in that sense, we are all, if you are being born, we're all dying. A slow death. And basically, I don't know when it will be. But don't look at me as if I'm dead already.
Yes, that's a really important point. That's a really important point, because then you start believing that you are. Also, what do you think about, I think we've done this interview before, we did it, but the sound was quite bad, so it was so important, I wanted to do it again. We also brought up, the way we think about cancer too, like thinking of it as a gift, and people are horrified when I say things like that. When we think about, we're going to talk about stuck energy now and stuck trauma, and I know you have a lot to say about that, but thinking of cancer as your body protecting you, because it's keeping that trauma so it's not spreading around your body, and it's physically manifested into that, and it's keeping it. So you found out some really interesting things, didn't you, on your journey, about things from your past, and how did this cancer manifest? Why did it manifest? Do you want to talk to that?
Yes, of course. It was basically when I turned 50, and I'd had a bad accident. I tore off totally my quadriceps tendon, and I had to be in a wheelchair for 2 months, and then I had to walk again. But I also was suffering from what's it called? Fibromyalgia.
Oh God, that's really painful, isn't it? That's
Oh
very
my
painful.
goodness, it's painful. You're always tired, but it's basically the pain and the, you know, the stiffness, the rigidity in the body.
It's in your joints, isn't it? Is it in all your joints, fibromyalgia?
It's basically in all the muscles, in
It's
all
in all the
the,
muscles.
you know, all the tendons. All the tendons are hypersensitive,
Right.
hypersensitive. So this is what stress does in the body. That is basically what stress does. So I could, at one point, the only thing I could do was cry the whole day. If someone was pointing a finger, I was crying. And someone gave me a number and a name, and it was a regression therapist. I went to see, and I've been with him for a year, for 1 year. And because I had no memories or hardly any memories from before I was 10. And there I found out some things, you know, I already knew my parents had, you know, my mother was 18 when she became pregnant. Me, and it was not planned. She was kicked out of the house. They stayed with my other grandmother. My other grandmother was a bit hysterical. And she has shaken me when I was 6 months old. She has shaken.
This is what you found out in regression. You found this out in regression.
And already when I was 41, I think, we lived in England at the time. And there was this girl, this au pair girl who was in the US and who had shaken a child to death. And that was affecting me like it was a dagger stabbing in my chest.
So you felt the trauma, seeing this or seeing it on the news, you literally physically felt it.
Exactly. I felt it and I was so upset. I've been crying, but I didn't make the connection. The only thing I knew was, you know, I'm sensitive, so, and it's a Dutch girl, so I felt a bit
like connected.
The connection. So that was something already. And then with the regression therapy, it came back, and I was, and immediately, it's like pieces of the puzzle that fall into place all of a sudden. I don't know if you recognize that, but that was,
absolutely.
And then understand your emotions at that time, and it can be years before that, but all of a sudden you start to see, oh, that is why I was so upset, or why I, you know, it was just
you hold it unconsciously in your body, even if you can't remember something in your mind, you hold it in literally your cellular memory, and that it goes in and it's there. So when you were going through your cancer journey, did you have a lot of releasing of a lot of emotions and just really doing deep work? Because you're not looking outside of yourself for anything, you're looking for the answers inside. So you're asking your body, what do I need to do? What do I need to address here?
Exactly. But this is something that is often forgotten, because we tend to think about diets, we tend to think about rest, being in nature, you know, all these things.
And that's great too.
Exactly. But you need the whole package, you know?
Exactly.
I call my juices always, it's my chemo, but maybe you can say the, you know, radiation is doing this kind of work, because you need to go really deep inside to
literally in at a cellular level. Basically, you're getting up and close and personal with yourself, like how we're not kind of trained to do, are we? We were just talking before we came on the interview, like with emotions, like being told don't cry, don't. That's the thing I believe, and many people believe, and I know to be true, that all illness comes from unexpressed trauma in the body, because we're brilliant, we're beings, and we're supposed to be here, and we're regenerative and we're amazing. But if we're not in tune, and we're not in contact, and we're not connected to who we actually are, then we're going to be out of balance. We're out of tune with ourselves.
Exactly.
From a young age.
Exactly. And that is it's often thought that your memory is stored in your brain. And it's not like that. Your brain is just like the it's the computer,
Yeah.
but the real memory is in your cells, is in your whole body. And that's also, if you do this work, and you can do it by yourself. You can go deep into meditation, ask your body to clear out what doesn't serve you, what makes you sick, and then do a check in your body. And what I did at that time, it was induced by this regression therapist. He said, okay, you cleared that, go inside your body and see what's there, and tell your cells that these child emotions, that they are gone. And I went inside and I saw all these gray patches still everywhere. So I went out again, because it frightens you.
Yeah.
But when you learn to look at it.
How long did it take you to be able to? Because everyone can do this. That's what I want people to know. Mary's lovely and she's an amazing lady, but she's not. None of us are special. Like, we can all do this. We can all do it. How long would you say were you meditating for, to be able to get to the point where you could actually scan your organs and actually see and like identify, with what you needed to see?
Maybe it took me some years even.
Yeah.
And if I look back, I'm 68 now. So it's already 18 years.
Yeah.
That I have.
It's a long process, isn't it? It's a long journey.
It is. You need to be patient. But when you are doing it in a loving way, that is so very important. Because in the beginning, you think, I don't want to be busy with all that all the time. But once you really start to love yourself, and once you really, then you also see the importance of taking good care of yourself. And this is just one of the pillars of taking good care.
Yeah.
You need several pillars to. And
it's coming from different angles. It's not only food, it's not only diet, it's not only getting out into nature, it's the inner work. It's not one answer. There's not one answer. There's no separation. It all works together. What would you say was the most, obviously we talked about meditation and we talked about trauma and unexpressed trauma, but with tools and sort of, I don't want to say techniques, but what would you say have you actually gone and had any specific treatments, not pharmaceutical treatments, but like any ones that you can talk about that aren't going to be too, get the video taken down or anything?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Well, I needed these pillars. I was aware that you can't do just one thing, but you need more things. So what I did, I already used CBD oil.
Yeah,
but
amazing.
So started to take the THC. So and only at night.
Is that the RSO oil? That's the RSO, because I've already done a video on this. So that is, just for people who don't know, the plant extract of cannabis sativa, and it's the pure. It comes like a black sticky stuff, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Need to mix it with a good oil, and that's and I take those drops before I go to sleep.
Okay.
And it helps you get a good sleep, because the sleep is also really important. And I often go to bed at 8 or 9 o'clock at night.
Wow, that's
and
good.
Then I do. Yeah, exactly.
Well
but
done.
I feel that I need it, and I could easily sleep for 12 hours.
Wow.
In the beginning, I could easily sleep for 12 hours.
That's what your body needed, obviously. Then you're in tune enough to know what you're needing. So that's really what it's about, and actually respecting that and listening to that and going, okay, I had these, my mind wanted to do these things, but my body's telling me, no, you need to rest.
Well, that's it. Really listen to your body. That's, and I agree,
Oh, you're frozen.
And you have to take care of. So, then it's a bit more difficult, but you have to choose, you have to become a bit egoistic in that sense. And it's not being really egoistic.
No, it's not. No, I know what you mean though.
But you have to put yourself first.
Yes.
That is, I'm in the first place.
Yeah.
And then
And that's it.
If there's left, if I have energy left,
You fill your own cup up first. So you've told me before, like in my life, I've been like this. You've been a people pleaser and always wanting to keep the peace, and always wanting to sort of, and that's interesting too, because a lot of people who had diagnosed with cancer, then they look back and kind of they're picking apart themselves, realizing that they've always been that everything for everyone and not wanting to upset or like that. So basically, it's kind of, if you think about it, your body's screaming at you, going, "Hey, you need to fill your own cup up first, and then, like you say, if you've got something left over, that's great, that's fine."
Well, that's a great thing you're saying that, because also, the type of cancer, it was my breast, which stands for nurture. The mother, the mother energy. And it's also my left, it's even my left breast, which is even stronger in that sense. And I know I've been doing that. Trying to make everyone happy and forgetting about myself. And that was a big lesson. So it's good you make that point, because now I'm really grateful for the cancer, for showing me that.
And people must think that sounds very strange, but I just had a conversation with someone earlier with all the health stuff I've got going on too. And like I said, I've never been more grateful, because I actually feel like for the first time in my life that I actually am me. I know me, I know actually deep down all the dirt, all the gross stuff you have to get out of the way. It's unpleasant going really that deep, isn't it? But like, to hear you say you were grateful for your cancer, some people are going to be like, "Oh, she's crazy. What's she talking about?" But if you've listened to what Mary's saying, it's an introduction to yourself again. You have to get really close up and see everything in yourself.
Yeah, because we are, and especially women, we are so programmed to keep it all inside. Because it was not just my grandmother who has shaken me, but what I also found out, that I had been sexually abused.
That's a big one. That's a big one, isn't it?
It's huge, because from when I was 4 until I was 10, and it was an uncle. And maybe it happened only 4 times. That's what I could.
But that's not necessarily true anyway. But like, it doesn't even matter if it happens once, but we block a lot of things, because that's what happened to me too, and I blocked a lot of things.
And especially, in that period, in that time, sexuality was still very much repressed. I never saw my parents naked or things like that. And so you don't talk about it. And I even, I was so young, I didn't even connect it to sexuality. It was just something very unpleasant. And he was threatening to do something, to do harm, to do me harm, to do my mother harm. So
you've got all that fear and everything tied up with it too. And it's because you were 4, before the age of 7, we are so easily, that's when we're so open, and what trauma goes in there really does stick. That's hardwired into us massively.
And it's a nice detail. When I was 10, he tried again. And he asked me, he was in a bunk bed on the upper bed. He asked me again, and I went up the stairs, and I turned around and went away. And it felt like victory. And that is something also, it's so good to just go back to that feeling of victory. And that makes you strong.
Exactly. And that's what you have to hold on to, all the times that you stood in your own power, even at 10, and just said no to someone who's harming you, hurting you, or even anything that's coming to you that you don't like. So many times in this life, and even at the moment, what's going on in the world, we don't want to stand out, we don't want to disagree, we don't want to be the person like, what's your truth? Well, we need to stand in our truth for our bodies, our sovereignty, like, for everything. And that's why everything's so intrinsically linked, because what Mary's talking about, what Mary's story is like a journey back to ourselves, to back actually who we are, to actually realize we don't have to outsource anything really. And I want to get to a point in medicine, and I'm sure you do, Mary, is where we we use all the great technologies and we bring it in. Like, you know, we have the functional medical doctors, when you'll go in and sit down with them for an hour, you know, and they'll take everything into consideration. That's how health is. You can't go and speak to someone for 10 minutes and have prod them and go, all right then. You know,
I write you a prescription.
Yeah, have some more pills, cover it up, and that's the point. And we really feel the same about this. If you don't address the root, you're just covering it up, and it's just going to come back. Yeah, it might feel okay for a while, but it's going to come back angrier, and it doesn't solve anything ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
Because my body was already telling me with the fibromyalgia, with all kinds of other things, you know, with the accident.
Yeah.
Accidents don't happen just like that.
Yeah.
Even the accident, you know, it put me immobile for a couple of months, and I started painting at that time. You know, that's when my creativity started to come out.
Because you were forced to. Your body literally forced you to. You're not moving. Come on.
Exactly. And that is how it works. And I think it's just a fabulous journey, basically, if you look at it from that point of view.
Yeah.
It's not like being a victim, because that was also one of the most important things. I remember my regression therapist telling me, or I said, I don't want to be a victim. I was really, I said, I don't want to be a victim.
Yeah.
And he said, but you were a victim. And I said, I was, yes, but not anymore. And that is taking responsibility.
It's like standing up for you're standing up for the little girl who couldn't stand up, or even though you had that victory that, you know, way back when. And that's what I've found it for myself too, because, you know, what you gifted me is back to revisiting that, you know, my own trauma in childhood, and actually being able to see the unpleasantness, transform it. You have to bring it up, you have to see it, and you have to kind of release it.
Yeah. And you have to embrace this little child that you once were, and tell her how courageous you are.
Yeah, it's so important.
That's important. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful journey to hear how you've just come through this, and how are you feeling at the moment? What's your protocol now? Are you still doing the same, everything we've just talked about every day?
I'm taking it a little bit easier, because you know, I had my children over last week, and I had wine. We enjoyed ourselves. We had pizza. We had, you know, and it's so good to be able to do that. And I do take a glass of wine now, every now and then. And you know, I think it's quiet now, and it's fine. And sometimes when I'm a bit worried or whatever, then I just need to do something. Then I just do something extra. That is.
You notice. Sorry to interrupt. Do you notice when you're specifically, you know, when your nervous system is triggered by stress or anything, that directly affects, obviously, but a lot of people don't actually correlate this directly affects, you know, how you're feeling and how, you know, how it affects your illness. So where would you say you are with your cancer now? So you live with it? I mean, I know you haven't gone back and had any more scans, but you're healthy every day. You're doing what you need to do for yourself. Will you say, in your words, I mean, how do you feel? Are you just mindful about what you do, and basically you just live a normal life?
I live a normal life, and I keep an eye on it. That's it. And,
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, when I feel that I need to do something extra, like was it 2 months ago? I think I did intestinal cleansing again.
Yeah. Oh, that's very good. Yeah.
And then after that, I did a 3-day water fast. So, you know, then you're just resetting the system again, and then building up again with lots of vegetables, lots of juices. And
so basically you're basically just in tune. You keep an eye on it, and if you feel like you need to, and you're sort of like your body's struggling a bit, you go, right, okay, cleanse, water fast, go into autophagy, which, you know, resetting your organs basically, which fasting's amazing. I'm going to do a whole episode on fasting because it's so important, and it's just been so just pushed away. Because hey, can you imagine if everyone really understood about fasting, you know, how it would wipe out a lot of things, because it's so useful. It's such a useful thing to do.
It is. Even after 3 days, it's resetting your whole system. Yeah. It's like you do a reset on the computer, you know, it's something with your body. Yeah. And that felt good. It was not easy, but it just feels good.
I think that's the point, what you've just said. It's not easy. All the stuff we're talking about, this is not a fast food health. This is, we've got so used to. And in fact, an energy worker that I went to, a lady had gone to see her, and she was doing Eden energy medicine. And she had a lady come to see her, and she went, and she was doing what she was doing. And the lady just got up and she went, oh, I'd just rather take a pill. And that's the point, is yes, of course you can take pills, and yes, you can do whatever you want. This, what me and Mary are talking about, is not a fast food method, and it can be uncomfortable and it can be a long process. But that's what our bodies naturally want to do, and that's what our bodies are capable of. We are powerful, as Mary said, regenerative beings, and we've forgotten it, haven't we, Mary? We've been made to kind of forget how powerful we are with our own health. And what I'm doing with this, and having amazing ladies like you on, is just to remind people, you know, just to remind people.
There's another thing that is really important, because cancer can only grow in a polluted body.
Yes.
And I went to see, that was 4 years ago also, I came across a guy who does living blood analysis. And that is really, it's so fascinating. He takes just a drop of blood, puts it under the microscope, and you can see on the computer screen, you see your drop of blood and everything that's inside.
Yeah.
Well, the thing was, when I saw that, it looked a bit weird. It was like worms, worms of things.
Wow.
But it was red blood cells all stick together. They were all stuck together, and there was hardly any biophotons. But the main thing that he discovered, he said, you have Lyme disease, you have borreliosis. And that is really undermining your health. And there's many more people who are suffering from that. And you could see that, because it changes your red blood cells. It made them look spiky, you know, like spiky wheels you have in a wheel. It looked like that, and tiny little worms were coming out. And these and they were like hiding themselves. They came out, and then quickly they were behind something else.
Amazing. So is this before you had the cancer, or after? So underlying all of it, you
after.
So you found that you had that afterwards. So that's all going on in your body, because it's never just cancer, is it? To get to the point of cancer, we got the trauma, we've got the, you know, the unhealthy, polluted body. People, you know, we have things, these coming towards us for a long time. You know, it's not just there one day you've got cancer. It's been manifesting for a long time to get to that point.
Yeah, that's it. And you can even, you know, eat healthy, because I've been, you know, I can eat bags of crisps also, but I can, you know, normally I'm a very health aware person. And when my children were younger, I was, you know, carrying loads of vegetables. And and because they didn't want to eat it, so I invented all kinds of things like juices or soups or whatever to make them have it anyway. So I've been doing that ever since I can remember.
So you were healthy for a long time, but it wasn't, you were healthy in your food wise, but you weren't healthy in your dealing with what you had to deal with trauma wise, or what you were aware of.
Trauma, exactly. And also the Lyme disease, and that goes, you know, it goes from one thing to another, and
how does that affect people? I don't know very much about Lyme disease. What does it do? I don't really know much about it.
It can even cause cancer. and it can cause a lot of. This guy, he is really in a research group in Europe, or maybe even worldwide.
Will we be able to get the link? Do you have, like, because I'd like to be able to put a few links at the bottom of this. Will you be able to provide, certain links for what you're comfortable with that will be able to help people?
Okay, we'll try to find out, but it's something you can find in your area. He's in Holland, so that's it's a bit out of the way for most people.
Yeah.
But that is something to be aware of, to have a check, have a thorough check, and then the living blood analysis, because it often doesn't come out in the normal lab tests.
That's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. You think you're having a blood test, but like you don't really know what they're testing for.
Exactly. And that is, it usually doesn't come out so quickly. So it's very good to do that in a living blood analysis. And I think these people you can find everywhere.
Perfect. So we'll put that link in. We'll put that link in, definitely. Also, can you speak to sugar and cancer? Because I know sugar feeds cancer, literally feeds it. Like, very important for people to know.
Exactly. This. And it's also affecting the pH, the body's pH, which has to be at a certain level. It's I don't know what you...
Alkaline. You got acid and alkaline, haven't you?
Alkaline.
Yes. Keep it in an alkaline way.
Yeah. And we are walking with our bodies are too acid. Yes. So that is also something you really have to take care of, to not feed the cancer. And the cancer you feed indeed with sugar. Yes. Sugar is in everything. It's in
literally everything.
Literally, it's everywhere. So I really went on a very strict diet. No sugar, no dairy products, no cafe, no coffee, no
cafe.
No, cafe.
Yeah. Le café?
Yeah. I'm in France.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I mean.
Do come over and have a cafe.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah. But that is important, all these things that are feeding the cancer.
Yeah. And also candida.
I had that too. Yeah, I had that too. And you can see that in the blood, it's like spider webs. It's like cobwebs.
So bad. It's so bad. I got yeast in my blood in the hospital. I caught it in my blood. I nearly died. I was in there for a month, and that's kind of why I don't get treatment now, is because I had a case against them. I don't want to get into that, but candida, it's interesting because ever since I had that, my health went like dominoes. And it was, when you stand back and you have to look at a picture, and the more I found out about candida, because it weakens everything. It weakens your entire system, your immunity, every organ. It just attacks stuff. I think most people walking around today are literally full of candida, and it's not, people think it's just thrush, it's a lady thing. No, it's in your body, it's everywhere. It's in your
body, it's in your blood.
Exactly.
It's literally in your blood, so it feeds all the organs, it comes everywhere, and it affects all the organs as well. So that is really something to watch for. Another thing is to use you can heal with frequencies.
Yes.
There are, if you look at, I have a frequency device, and it's called Biotron.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's a Biotron, and there's also a Healy.
Yeah, I know Healy. Yeah, I do know Healy.
It's a little more, a little less expensive.
Okay.
But it's also a very good device. And but you can even do, my daughter did that last week. They're on what is it, Spotify.
Yeah.
You have all kinds of healing frequencies.
Yes.
You can just, if you look at them, and you can even find them on the internet, the specific healing frequencies for certain things.
Everything is frequency, isn't it? So like literally, I think Royal Raymond Rife, before he was shut down way back and all his equipment stolen, he'd found the exact frequencies for certain shatterings, certain like cancer cells and different cells, and this device, like the what did you call it? Biotron. Yeah, and the
Biotron.
Healy is basically taking that
Yeah,
and bringing it for the modern age, and
yeah.
basically, so you find that really useful, do you? Frequency device.
It is really useful. And the Healy, you know, you can carry around and you can do all kinds
Yeah.
of things. Biotron, you have to hold the, you know, the two sticks in your hand or put
Oh,
your
okay.
hand on them. So you have to sit or lie or whatever.
Yeah.
But with the Healy, you can walk around. So
Yeah, you
that
just
is,
literally pin it to yourself, don't you?
and I don't get any commission or whatever, but
No,
this,
no, but you know, it's really good, because what we, all the things you're talking about, Mary, is all the different things, that tools that people can use. Like we said, it's not just one thing, it's all these different things that you can use for yourself. So there's a lot
yeah,
of people at the moment who've obviously been having cancer treatment, and now they can't get it, or you know, all the stuff that's going on. So you know, it's so important for people like you to come on and just say, hey, so you know, you don't have to be laying there feeling such a victim and like, oh God, you know, I'm going to die. And you know, you can actually, there's so much you can do for yourself. There's just so much you can do.
yeah.
And we've gone through quite a lot here. But
I
like,
think so, because we were talking at the beginning about these pillars.
yeah,
You need several pillars,
yeah,
and it's like a fire truck who
yeah,
has more hoses. You know,
yeah, yeah, that's a good analogy actually.
it is, and
Yeah,
it's not just one thing, but
no,
you have
never is.
to, you know, to find your own healing program,
Yeah,
and
that's what it is, isn't it? That's what you've done. You've found your own rhythm and what you need to do for you. But you must research, and you must know, and you must look a lot of places, because this is not out there. You know, it's, you know, you, it is out there, but you increasingly not. So you must look at different search engines and look around, you know, like keep your ears open, just be open your mind to new concepts and new perceptions, because how we've grown up is with one perception of our bodies being weak and just dissolving, and like we can't do anything about it. But like really, we are so empowered, and you know, if we choose to be.
we
And sometimes we have our days when we have our quiet days, and that's okay, because that's all part of it too. So what would you say, Mary, to anyone who's suffering at the moment, who just has maybe got a diagnosis, or just what words would you, just of encouragement would you say to them?
um, I would say to them, um, well, basically, it's love yourself.
Yeah, that's what
It's
it comes.
love yourself,
And
that
believe maybe as well. Believe in yourself.
and believe in yourself. But with the loving of yourself comes the believing in yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
And because you, as you say, you know, we are such powerful beings, and another thing is really important to think out of the box.
yeah.
Don't let yourself, just before we started recording, you said taking off the blinkers, and
Mm,
it's really thinking out of the box.
yeah,
And you know, don't feel limited by what is possible, or
yeah,
what is written in the books, or what you see on the internet, that you know, this type of cancer, you will die in half a year, or
yeah,
maybe 2 years. Don't go into that. Don't pin yourself on these statistics.
yeah.
That,
Because
you
that's
know,
exactly what they are, just numbers and
it's just
statistics. And we are
statistics.
people.
And we are people, exactly. We're flesh and blood, and we are so much more. We're energy,
Yeah,
and that is what we need to learn to use,
yeah,
to believe in yourself. And of course, it doesn't always work, and of course, you sometimes feel, especially in the beginning, is it working or is it not working? You
yeah,
don't get nervous. I
mm,
am, you know, maybe because I have been dead as a 6 month old.
yeah.
You know, I'm not afraid to die.
That's the
I
thing. It's the fear of the thing. The fear of the thing is what cripples us with illness, with everything. It's the fear of it,
yeah,
it all. And that's what cripples us as humans. And that's the point, isn't it? Once you relax into it and you just, okay, you accept you've got something you've got to work on in your body, and you give up that fear, it's when you really start getting deep down into what you need to. And also what I'd say is expect the unexpected. Be open your mind to everything. And that's just what's so important. Oh, thank you so much, Mary. Thank you
Well,
so
thank
much for
you.
taking the time and, you know, sharing your story, because it's really important right now. It's really important. And I just wanted to say, we'll put me and Mary will kind of liaise, and I'm going to get some links up here, and I'm going to put some useful links for people. But again, I just want to say, as a compliance notice, this is my opinion and Mary's journey and her story, and we are completely entitled to have our opinions and how we work with our health. And we're not telling anyone else to do this, but we're just telling our stories. So thank you so much, Mary. I really, really appreciate your time. And thank you for watching on Zero to Freedom. Please like and subscribe. And if you want to comment, if you're having trouble with your health journey, please do, and I have a group on Facebook called Tribe to Thrive. If you need some support in a community, please come. We're very open, loving people, and it's just to share and just create and empower. So thank you so much for watching.